the provincial institution leadership, ECDC, ECRDA, etc., the organized business, NAFCOC, and the other institutions, NYDA, of course, most important, our traditional leaders, our business leaders here, sisters first before brothers, mama, all protocol observed. We came today, or usually, that Kuliswa political mama, Winnie Mandela, when she was banished in Brantford. I lived with her for 5 years, and I pioneered the one movement that accelerated the fall of apartheid, United Democratic Front, UDF. If it was not for me, there would be no UDF. Without UDF, there would be no New South Africa. Give me a round of applause for that one. I'm going to start on a mine is to really come and listen to hear what the aspirations, the vision, and the efforts, and the mission of the youth is in terms of business and economic development, so that I can then see how I support. Obviously, to also interact with the municipalities. I've had a very good engagement with the MM from Kindalinjabo. It's been very highly informative, highly productive. And I do believe by tomorrow, I'm going to leave here, if I'm leaving tomorrow, ready to then open the pipeline of the multi-billion, not rent, dollar investment in this region. So I came to listen and to be with you. Firstly, I will share with you something that should pain you, because you should feel bad about it. Umama Nomzamo Winnie Madikizela Mandela, when she was dying, I did not believe when she said, look, I am dying, and gave me her usual wry smile. I mean, she's one of, and has been one of the strongest women, of African descent, and I did not believe her. Indeed, a few months she had departed. But I want to mention, in my interactions with her during her last days, she said to me, I need to make a confession to you. Ubut Oliver, that's how she referred to Oliver Tambo. They are both Kayawake, Mampondweni, Epizan. Ubut Oliver, just before he passed on, I sat at his deathbed. He said to me, Zanyiwe, you and I have done all we could, what we were committed to do for our nation, for our people, and for this continent. But you and I forgot about where we came from. What have we done for Amampondwen, for the Eastern Cape? Please, it's too late for me. Do something about it. Make sure that development comes to where we come from. Make sure that we empower our youth. We have done what we could and everything for everybody else except for our own people, where we come from. And then O.R. Tambo passed on. She did not do what he asked her and mandated her to, for whatever reasons. And when now it was her time to go and join Ubud Oliver, she called me and she said to me, I'm making this confession. I'm now passing on the baton to you. Please do not forget Epizana, Mampondwen. Do not forget the Eastern Cape. And then, of course, she passed on. I'm delivering on that promise to her. We are at King Sabata Dalinyebo hometown, soon to be metro. We shall work with you to make it happen. I want to also, given that it is where our Okumkani Wetu, the king, is also reigning in this area on behalf of Amakosi, is that when Umama Nomzamo Mandikizela was banished to Brantford after being held responsible by apartheid for the June the 76 uprising and massacres, that she solely individually was responsible for conscientizing our youth, etc., to become what they were. Incidentally, it is true, in a sense. She was then taken out of Soweto, out of the heart of the liberation struggle, Soweto and Johannesburg, and then bundled to Brantford in the Free State. I later joined her illegally, of course. We went to court. We won the case, and I became officially Mandela by a court decision. That has never been rescinded by anybody, so I'm still, by the way, standing here as a Mandela. One of the most important families that we looked after, that we would travel whenever she would get permission to travel to home Bizana, so the MTHATHA, is of course a family ka Ukumkani Sabata. The king, we will always held counsel with him. Whenever he would find his way to Brantford. And of course, Umfazwake, Nomosko, and the children, one of them is a king now. Besiba Kulisa, Pilanabo. So the Sabata family, that is very close to my heart and to the family as that. So I just wanted to make that recognition. We have, okay, lastly, if I may mention, I'm here representing officially as a special envoy of King Ndamase II in Nyandeni, who turned 40 years last week, recently, and we are celebrating here, I must say, the birthday, the 40th birthday of King Ndamase. But what is unique about Ndamase is that he has taken it upon himself to ensure that he brings economic development to his people, particularly to young people in not only Epondoland, Nyandeni, but in the rest of the Eastern Cape, the rest of the country, and to hold hands and partner with other Amakos and kings all over Africa to bring development to Africa, particularly in the agriculture and agro-processing sector. I have taken upon that challenge. I'm his special envoy, and I'm in communication and engagement with Amakos from Cape to Cairo. Incidentally, during the 2002 United Nations World Economic Sustainable Summit for Sustainable Development, I hosted Chief Elukosi, Chief Amara Esi, who was at the time 2002 the first chairman of the African Union Commission in Addis Ababa. He led a 55-member official dignitary delegation to the summit in Johannesburg, and I hosted him. And on the occasion of that event, it was officially announced that because African people, our people, are by and large live and belong under the auspices of traditional leaders, and yet traditional leaders are not anywhere part of Africa's economic development agenda or governance agenda, that we would, with the mandate that I received from Chief Amara Esi, the chairman of the African Union, that we were mandated to convene the first summit of traditional leaders in Africa, Cape to Cairo, that would establish the parliament of traditional leaders in Africa, so that officially traditional leaders can be integrated into the mainstream of Africa's political and economic development agenda. I'm glad to say that in partnership under the auspices of Ukumkanwe to Ndamase, that we will finally host towards the end of this year that summit that will bring Amakosi from all over the continent, Upper Eastern Cape, that will establish the parliament. That parliament is not the infrastructure benefits of establishing such a parliament means, like any parliament, like the United Nations is in New York and so forth, will have a major Gulf estate for residential purposes when they come. international convention center, you know, you name it, a theme park, etc. We are doing that. What we had not decided was where that parliament is going to be established, and I'll be speaking to that in a minute. So we are working very closely with King Damase. We're in communication with King, representing of Africa, Mohammed, the multi-billionaire of Morocco, the kings of Nigeria, East Africa, King Osei Tutu, of, you know, billionaire of gold, billionaire in Ghana, etc. We are siyawahlanganisa lamakhosi to come here to South Africa under the patronship of King Damase. Bazothetha into by involve in terms of and how they become part of the economic development agenda of Africa. And of course, the institutions and the processes that now even support that, the African Continental Free Trade Area, as you are very well aware, is the biggest development in Africa's history that is going to unlock Africa's full economic development and the international global trading potential. Incidentally, we have been appointed as the catalytic project of the African Union for the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. We'll be sharing all those documents and agreements with you very shortly. We are here, Kindalinjabo, Sabata Dalinjabo local municipality, together with under the auspices of the OR Tambo district, and of course our provincial, the Eastern Cape province. To bring and to attract and retain and commit international capital, investment capital, you have to come with major catalytic anchor mega projects, because once you can table those and have funding committed for them, it's easier for the funding to then trickle down to, you know, low-hanging fruit, small projects like what the municipality officials have mentioned here. I don't know if it's 7 or 8 or more projects around. We will be able to fund them, but we have to anchor specific catalytic projects to attract you know, foreign direct investment at that level. And to that extent, I'm glad to announce to you that I am the representative of a $100 billion investment fund for Southern Africa. It has a number of global investor partners that is targeted at unlocking the region, Southern Africa's full economic development potential, you know, infrastructure, corridors, tourism, etc. We are anchored around a smart city. We are in the process